Alright, so back on the Tercel, I think it is, the Toyota. Not getting any fuel. I put about a gallon in. It's not coming up through the filter, so I don't know if the pump is seized. So what I've done, disconnected the flow pipe. I'm going to bang the funnel on it. Obviously I'll give it a quick clean first. Tape it on, just put a bit of fuel directly in and see if we can get it started. On the inlet of the fuel pump, I've taped up this funnel. In fact, I know what I needed to do. Right, so on the inlet, I've got this funnel attached, just to see if throwing a little bit of fuel in makes enough difference. I've got the truck battery on, as I do on the Mercedes. Doesn't seem to be pulling through the fuel filter, so it's either down to the battery or potentially everything's completely dry. So that's now dripping down the outside. See if it'll start on that. Brace up for the first start. So it sounds like it wants to go, it wants to play, but it ain't going yet. I don't know if it's because we're out of fuel. Right, let's get a bit more fuel in. I suppose the pot for the carb could be absolutely empty, so right, just dripping because of the tape. Started, get a bit more fuel in. So it sounds pretty sweet, the engine. Obviously, I can hear the fuel pump, so I think we'll reconnect it, put a bit more fuel in, and see actually I've got a working pump and it's not just the gravity feeding it in. So there is a possibility that it's not the fuel pump that's doing it, it is the gravity. So I'll connect it back up, get some more fuel in the system. I don't think there's a way of me priming the... In fact, if I join it on the other direction, if I take that off there, put it on there, I should be able to fill up the filter. So if I fill the filter backwards, just to get rid of a bit of it, and we'll see what happens. Right, so we're up in there. I tried putting some on the roof to try and get up a bit higher this time, but again, I could have gone higher. Just make sure we're all safe under here. So, fuel lines, you can see the flow down is this one here, and it's a steel line from the looks of it. And it's the thicker of the two, so it's going to be that one. Let's see where it goes in. I've got to be honest, I was expecting it to be on the other side. Right, oh God. Oh no, I think they're breathers there, aren't they? There's some nasty looking pipework up there that wants replacing. And then up in between, I think we might have to drop this tank down, you know. So there'll be, I think, the two on the right, I can't point to them, but them two on the right hand side there next to each other, they look like the flow and the return, looking at the widths of the pipework. But I can't as yet seem to see any one-way valves, and it seemed to me like it was blocked. So easy enough to get the mechanical fuel pump off. It does seem to make a bit of a noise. I'll put it in the tripod and show you. So if I it's definitely doing something, but doesn't seem to have much suction. It's pumping out, but there's not a lot of suction going on. So apologies about the light, but it's as good as I've got. I'll put the torch on for this next bit. But the pump's been through the ultrasonic cleaner. I've just primed it with fuel and it's pumping out absolutely fine, so there's no issues with that. I'm just going to use the oil can, bang a bit of oil just inside there to lubricate it, run it round a few times obviously to make sure I've got some oil in there, refit it, and then hopefully when I next come back I'll have the new fuel, can't even speak. When I next come back I'll have the new fuel line, and we'll drop the tank and change all the fuel pipes and see what sort of blockages we've got, get the airline through them and that. So I've just pulled off the air filter housing so that I can get to that pipe, so I can replace that one. And then there's a few little vacuum pipes and stuff inside, but they seem all okay, and obviously they're not going to be carrying the new fuel, so I'm not too worried about them. It smells a little bit of old fuel in there, but we've had it running off the funnel and it runs absolutely sweet, so there's no issue with the carb, the line, anything like that. The issue seems to be with the flow from the tank, so we'll wait till we get the stuff and I'll pick back up with you. Right, so I've just come into the main garage to try and get rid of a little bit of the noise from outside. I have tried sucking down this pipe, as you may have seen on the time lapse, which connects this filter, and it just seems completely blocked at this end. I'll check with the airline that the other hoses are okay, but the return line is fine, which is that one. I'll get this in the ultrasonic cleaner, take the rubber off it first, give that a clean on its own, and just see if I've got any air that's passing through that. Take this filter off the end and we'll come back to it. So first thing I've done is take off the filter, and I'll just show you the inside, and this is obviously what the problem is. So there's the inside of the filter, and that's exactly what's wrong with it. So just excuse the door there, but what I'll do is I'll put something through that first, and then I'll get in this as much as I can in the ultrasonic cleaner, probably in a couple of passes, and just get it as clear as I can. I'll get the filter in there as well, because I haven't got another one of them, but I'm sure that'll ultrasonically clean anyway. Alright, so I apologise and excuse the sound of the sonic cleaner, but just where I'm up to now, I've found the blockage as you saw. I've made sure I've got a clear flow and return line, which you can see there. Now there's a breather that runs just round there. It's really rusty, so I'm going to swap that to a copper line. The bit that there's a bit there that goes into the chassis with like a one-way valve from the looks of it, that comes off the end. That seems okay, but I will take it off and clean it. And then two of the pipes there that I think are going up as a breather to the filler net, which I'll check in a minute, they're rotted and snapped off. They actually go into the tank as well, so I'm going to have to replace all of them lines. It shouldn't stop me getting it going, however I don't want to put the tank back when I've got to do work inside. So if I get at least the breather there, that one done, and get the rubber lines out, I might even be able to break them somewhere in this area and see if we can go, but I might as well do it once and do it right. Alright, so we're out the ultrasonic cleaner. See the filter, just blown it through the airline. That's come out nice. Clean on the inside and everything. I've got a proper good clean through. This is the actual unit that sits in the tank. It's come out really quite well. Got the airline blowing straight through. All the other pipes are okay. So what I'm going to do now, get the rubber gasket on, get the filter on, get it back on the tank, and we'll get it plumbed up. So I've got the filter on and it sits in the tank something like that, but what I've done on the inside is I've just kinked the pipe up ever so slightly, just to lift it a little bit further off the bottom, so it's a little bit higher up on the filter. Alright, so where I'm up to now, I've got the tank, I don't know what it is, the inlet and outlet connected up. That's got no rust on it, that's okay. So all the tank and everything seems fine. As you hopefully saw, got new tubular clips on the filler neck, but the three pipes there, which are all breathers, are all absolutely rotten. So I'm going to undo them now, take them out, and they seem to go into that pipe there. Just struggling here. So that one there, and then they drop down. So I'll remove them. So I'll renew that's on the floor in copper, and I'll renew all them in copper as well. I think I've got some 8mm or 10mm copper, which should suffice for all that. I'll just do it all in the same size, and we'll get it all rebuilt before we put it in. Because you can see there, the steel's absolutely shot, and they're all connected together as well. So I can't even sort of break off and change pieces. So I might as well get it as close to what it was myself. Obviously copper's not going to rot, think that bracket should just come off there and I can make something similar. So we'll be able to get that sorted. Right, so here's the filler net removed. And that's the breather that goes onto the tank. That's no problem, that we can sort that. This here is what we're talking about. This is the bit that we're going to have to make up. So it's like a big chamber at the end with an offset on which follows the contour of the pipe, and then it's got 3 pipes that come off. There's one that goes that bit into the chassis leg, one that goes onto the top of the tank, and one that goes around the breather from memory, but I can check on the photographs and the videos I've taken. So how this sits is something like this. And it curves around the shape. That bracket just comes down a little bit. I'll give this a wire brush just to make sure that everything's okay. So that sits something like that. Right, so as you can see now, the filler neck is back on. We're left with a void and the holes where the brackets were. And originally, all the pipes tucked right tight in that corner. What I think I might do, because there is space, is put it on the right hand side and bring them across and through that way. I just think it's gonna get a bit tight in there, and you can see where they were resting as well, all the pipe work, 'cause it's gone rusty around there. So I'm thinking if I can avoid that, it's going to be better. Again, that is your flow and return to the front end, to the engine. So then all really we've got to do, that's a brake line there, is connect that round the loop, which is there. And then there's one off the top here, which I can't remember which one it is. I think it's that one. Yeah, it is, it's that one. That needs to go into the chamber as well. So we've got a breather from the tank, a pipe to the swervy bit, and then the other one. Basically just cracked on this morning, so I'll just show you what I've done. I've got the new breather line fitted in. I don't want the camera to flick around, but there you go. New breather line's in across. It's going to what I think is the one-way valve over there, and then I've ran the other end to come round here. Just left a load of flex on it. I've put that into the breather on that bit as well. I've just got to do one off there and then hook that breather up, but I can do them after the tank's fitted back up. I've connected the flow and the return lines up, and I've used some higher quality fuel clips as well. The breather I've just used Jubilee clips because obviously, I mean, it was just them little spring clips before. So I'll get the tank mounted back in now so I can get my torch down. I could do with lowering the car down a bit so I can get it back up again, because I've only got it's a 3-phase motor on the ramp, but I've got it working in single phase, so it's not got the power to lift the car up. And then what we'll do, we'll connect up the filler and the breather to there and there, and then we'll think about getting some sort of chamber made. I may even just leave them open into atmosphere for now, just see if it's running. Alright, so tank, knackered now, is back fixed in. The thick breather's on, padding's back on, the filler's in, that breather's on, all I'm missing is that one breather there, but I need to figure out how much I can chop off these 2 lines. I need to get all this out of the way so I can drop the car down. I need the battery off it as well, and I need that for the truck. I'm going to pick up another car today. So we'll get the car dropped down, move that wheel out of the way, and then get it back up in the air. Alright, so the fuel lines are done, other than I've not been able to do the engine bay because I ran out of the 8mm. I could have done the 5mm line, but I'll just do it all together. So I need to order a bit more 8mm so I can do the lines down there. It's all done at the back, which obviously you've seen. I filled it full of water, and we seem to have, where there was a bit of mess down by the water point, it seems to have quite a lot of steam, and it's also steaming around this radiator. Now it's not to full temperature yet, and the radiator is getting warm. I think they're marks from where I spilt water when I was topping up the cap. As you can hear, the engine sounds pretty sweet, so I'm happy with that. It's just moving on to the next thing then. Obviously the next thing